I'm smiling because I have actually had this conversation once, I'll be honest, just once. So it's new, right? Like this whole thought is new, I think, within our space. Had this conversation once with somebody, and I would love for it to still take that 6 weeks and us to take advantage of all of that time saving to make these amazing, mind blowing experiences. I don't think that's going to be the reality, though. What I think is going to happen is we're going to say, okay, that's 6 weeks. We cut it down to 2 for content development. Okay, we've got the content in place. Maybe we take 2 of those weeks back. So we still have a cost savings of 2 weeks to do some more work here. Maybe it's really making sure we have our needs analysis done, because let's be honest, what often happens in L&D is we're told, okay, I need training on this thing, go make it happen. And it takes that 6 weeks regardless. So maybe instead of it taking 6, we get more time up front to do a true deep analysis and figure out, is this really what needs to happen, and align the skills, and maybe take advantage of things that are already out there. Take that other 2 weeks to build out the content. So you still have a savings, and what all is going to happen in that space. Maybe it's creating more practical activities that really are engaging from a role-based standpoint to drive people to practice doing these things, whatever it might be, in a safe space. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's more analysis. Maybe it is building out some really, really cool, amazing interactive tools. I'm not sure, right? Like that's the part that we got to figure out is what to do with that extra time. I think that my prediction, I don't think it's going to stay at that 6 weeks. I think that cost savings piece, which I completely agree is driving this, is going to have to be justified. Somebody is going to ask for it. Give me that ROI, which is a really hard thing for L&D. How do we explain that value in numbers? And someone's going to say, okay, I get it. Like you're saving me costs. You want to make adoption and engagement really, really high on this. I'll give you a little bit of time back, but I'm not going to give you it all back. That's where I'm at right now with it.
Yeah, and to do like campaigning and comms and things like that around. Yeah.
Agreed. Yep.
But the focus of our paper was data literacy. So let's bring this back to data literacy, right? So one of the things that I would love to see, and I've been kind of looking for this for a good few years now, is many years ago, back at the dawn of time, in the midst of time, we had the promise of a new data specification. We had the promise of XAPI and the ability to think about activity-based or granular data. Now with generative AI and conversational interactions with large language models, small language models, etc., we have the potential to do conversational analysis and be thinking about how do we start to measure knowledge in the flow of work? How do we start to measure application? How do we start to measure things like sentiment? So we have the potential to really change what we look at in terms of data. That's learner data. The metrics that we should be looking at are probably still operational metrics, so things that have an impact on share price and revenue and all of these things. But we haven't seen mass sort of adoption of XAPI as a standard. I don't think I've seen a data standard for transcript scraping or transcript analysis, although there are plenty in academia. I don't think I've seen any industrially. So the next phase of data in organizations, when we think of the understanding of data concepts all the way through to the application of data tools that give you insight, we know that the fuel for the AI engine is data, and it's going to, there's going to be a dependency on organizations to get their data right. But data is one of these success factors that you need to get right for AI implementation for those reasons. Can you see a future state where maybe we're in L&D, we're getting better at our data?
I think we have to. It's not, to me, a matter of, it's not a wish list item anymore. I think that's past. I think we have to. It's now. We have to better understand what is the data that we need to collect. How do we analyze it? How do we critically think with it? How do we use it then to support our value proposition? That right there. Yes, everyone needs to grow their skills. I think that is fundamentally understood by everyone. However, then the investment to make that happen and the investment into making engaging, impactful types of training, types of learning experiences, how do we justify that? We justify that with data. Here we have to understand data better. There's just no way around it. Obviously, you and I love data. Like, this is our thing. It's one of our areas of passion. So coming from me, like, it's easy to say that, but like truly working through however many years I have of experience at this point, I have never seen more of a need to have an understanding of data within the learning and development space because of this need to be able to justify what it is that we do when we've got this Gen AI push that could supposedly create this content for us. Well, why am I, if I am on a board somewhere, not just saying, okay, well, let me have one instructional designer who can do prompt engineering all day and create a whole bunch of content that can be pushed out to my people. I can save a whole team, and that just makes sense. Yeah. Well, as an L&D person, we know that Gen AI piece is just a tool. It's a tool in our toolkit, that it's not going to create the most engaging, interactive things, because while it can have a conversation with us, it cannot empathize with what we go through as learners. It cannot empathize with what it means to go through change and what it means for me to understand how are these things, whatever it is, right? How is this going to benefit me? It's not going to tell me my why, because it's not going to understand that, right? So as an L&D professional, data is going to be my backbone to helping drive that conversation and to get me to be able to, this might be extreme, but justify why it's important for us to be here. So I don't think it's optional anymore. I think it is critical. We all need to understand data better. The degree to which we can talk about, right? We don't all need to be data scientists. That is not what I am proposing by any means. We just need to have a fundamental understanding what we're talking about, literacy around data and how to use it to make decisions and to help teach others our value within the space of an enterprise and helping them accomplish the goals that they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the literacy point is, how do we get insight that helps us to justify and adapt our learning and teaching strategies such that we get a better outcome for the organization? That's a slightly different thing for, human growth and self-actualization, which is a different reason for learning, but that's personal learning rather than corporate learning.
Mm-hmm.
The other challenge, this is an age-old challenge, I think, but the thing that we had before, we now have a way to do basically that for much less investment. And what I mean by that is that what you were just saying about having a virtual agent, whether it's ChatGPT or Copilot or something else. You have a virtual agent, you ask it a question, you get some text response. That's not actually too much different in fact, it's kind of better than the norm from 2 years ago, which was companies would have lots of basically RISE courses, which are text on a screen, accessible via a web browser. And if you have lots of those, you don't actually have the ability to search within your LMS for those things. So now we have the ability to search within lots of PDFs. Take that to the next stage. We have a conversational agent, which can to some degree do that search for you. So when we're looking at a gap, we're looking at the comparison between lots and lots of sort of image and text e-learning courses and a conversational agent. And I'm being sort of deliberately provocative in saying that. But if that's what we're looking at, then that seems a fairly obvious business case to just say, let's do away with these things. Now, if it was high quality experiences, that would be a very different conversation. But if we take that bottom end of the market and just say we have lots of text and image courses, and now we have a chat agent, it seems like a fairly obvious decision which way to go. What do you think?